All right, part two of Don't Give Up. Yeah, it's getting pretty dark out there. And I'm not just talking about the fact that I can't see the sky anymore because it's just a sheet of white when I look outside the window. Uh, I really don't even know what's going to happen to our economy over the next few years. It's nothing like AI has ever happened to the world before. I've gotten pretty good at predicting most things in the world, and I think that's part of why I became so isolationist over the past few years because like just a whole bunch of evil shit I wanted nothing to do with, you know? But at this point, I've realized that I stayed quiet for too long, so that's why I'm back and I've been consistently creating content as much as I can for a whole year now. I've got like a whole year of these coffee vlog uploads, and I'm working on the formula now to just get better at doing them. Um, that's why we have the two-part coffee vlog now, uh, to hit both the shorts algorithm and the longs at the same time. I have to admit though, the second part of it really isn't for the algorithm. It's for me. I like rambling and being introspective. Ironically, most of these have been short for my introspective ramblings, around like 20 minutes since I've started doing the part twos. I want to get a good 3 hour one going at some point. I don't know if I'm actually going to go for 3 hours, but I want to get close to that hour limit at some point. Today is not the day though. I've got a lot of work to do around the house, but I think it's important to make sure you don't give up, right? It all feels so pointless. Like every single job is getting replaced by AI at this point. Even like a lot of people say, oh, well, not the manual labor. Are you not paying attention? Uh, Flippy has been a thing for years now. It's just a matter till it comes down in price. And uh, at this point, it's probably already cheaper than a line cook. If you look at how much you would spend over a year to hire a line cook versus how much it costs to install a Flippy, you probably spend less on the Flippy than you do on an entire year's wages of a line cook. And here's the thing, you're still going to need some kind of human overseer, at least for most things, but it's a lot easier to have one head cook, one expo cook, and three flippies than 15 cooks on the staff, right? When you take into account shifts and all that stuff, depending on the size of your restaurant, who needs 15 cooks when you can replace them with three flippies? So it's really just a matter of the bottom line of economics. And none of these corporations care about you, no matter how much they're going to try to tell you that they care about you, that AI is going to make your life better. I do believe AI has the potential to make our lives better. The problem is they're all using it in the most evil and corrupt ways possible, and they're careless about it too. Recently, I discovered, well, I didn't discover it. That's a weird word. I'm just still tired. No sleep yet. No sleep, gang, in the chat, right? um, I watched a video where Mudahar from Subordinary Gamers was talking about how somebody discovered that um, there was a massive vulnerability in Copilot, which is the AI that's built into Windows that you have to accept these days, basically. And you have to jump through a billion hoops just to turn it off. And you can't even completely uninstall it, you just turn it off. So, is it really off? Or is it just there spying on you the whole time? I don't know. I'm sure you could gut it if you want, but often they build those things to such a level that if you do that, other parts of your PC just stop working too. So switch to Linux, by the way. Bazite is awesome. I love it so far. I haven't had any serious issues. The only downside is if you really want just things to just work, you may need to switch to different programs. But um, the point is, Microsoft had this hack where people were using AI to steal personal information. And this is the AI that is built into your PC that sees everything you do on your PC. So it has literally all of your personal information, right? I think it's very important to create sandboxes essentially to keep that shit contained, you know. Um, you just can't be too careful these days because there's more crime than ever. And if you look at all the people who just committed massive amounts of fraud and stuff that are catching presidential pardons, as CoffeeZilla likes to say, crime is legal these days. Now, that's not uh, a promotion of crime. Don't go out there and start committing crimes yourself, because I promise you there will be a reckoning one day, whether in this life or the next. But I think that's why it's especially more important than ever to not give up, right? The old saying is, if you can't beat them, join them. I disagree entirely. I think if you can't beat them, go find people to help you, you know? So I think it's especially more important than ever to one, make sure you find good people and surround yourself with them, you know? That is literally anyone who's ever successful will tell you things like you become the five people you spend the most amount of time around, right? So it's very, very important to make sure you're always pushing to better yourself and to hold the people around you accountable. I've lost a lot of friends just because they didn't want to grow up. And they got mad when I started growing up. And I was like, well, I'm sorry you want to be so weird and cruel and manipulative, but I don't want anything to do with that. I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep being the best possible version of myself. And I'm always going to seek to make that best possible version of myself better, you know? So that's the downside, obviously, of choosing the light, is that you're going to lose people you care about to the darkness, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, I always think back to um, Jesus, who they called the Prince of Peace. Um, a lot of people misunderstood him. I want to get this whole quote memorized at some point. If there were ever a quote I would get tattooed on my body, it would be this one. Um, it says something along the lines of, I did not come to bring peace, but the sword. He talks about how he's going to set families against each other and friends against each other. And he doesn't mean that literally. What he really means is that people that chose to support him were going to be ostracized and even persecuted by society, and that ended up being true. Uh, the Romans would slaughter Christians indiscriminately for a while under different regimes, and eventually, ironically, the Romans became Christians themselves and then used Christianity as an excuse to slaughter indiscriminately. It's almost like the problem was never with Christianity, but with the Romans. And here's the thing, I love America. I love Americans. You will probably never find a more patriotic person than me. But the problem with America right now is Americans are no longer acting like Americans. They're acting like communists and fascists. And we fought 2 world wars to end those evils. I know things can seem really dark right now. I was just actually feeling kind of depressed for the first time in years earlier today when I was the combination of hearing about fraudsters that get pardoned and then or at least have prosecution dropped against them or whatever, get some kind of plea deal, and then they go and commit another fraud and then get pardoned again, as well as the fact that there's um, AI influencers that have better sale and click through rates than any human influencer. And there's AI music artist that got signed a $3 million deal. It's actually really just insane and dark and scary. And I think the only thing we can do, really, not that most of you are going to listen or even see this, because most of you have already drank the Kool-Aid and been drinking the Kool-Aid for decades at this point. The only thing we can do is say, no, I refuse to participate. You know, I don't mind stupid AI videos like some of the stuff Snoop Dogg shares, but even that, I do my best not to engage with it. If I can tell a channel is AI generated, I don't follow it, I don't watch the videos. I think there are many important uses for AI, but we can't just use AI to replace humans entirely. Do you realize how fucking scary that is, right? Do you want to cease to exist because a robot is more useful and important than you are? Uh, AI is an existential threat to humanity. I'm actually wondering if it's the great filter. I guess we maybe are rambling a little bit on this one. If you don't know what the great filter is, it's from the Fermi paradox. If you don't know what the Fermi paradox is, it is a essentially Enrique Fermi, I think, something like that. I don't remember his whole name, but he was like a physicist and philosopher, mathematician. I think someone else can do a biology on him who actually knows more about the dude. I'm not even sure I have his name right. It might not even be Enrique. Fermi could be his first name. I'm kidding. I'm pretty sure it's his last name, but that's just to explain how little I know about the dude. I'm a neurodivergent weirdo that cares more about the theory than the guy that actually wrote it, right? But the idea, the paradox is all about the question of if there is intelligent life out there, why haven't we discovered signs of it yet? Especially with all the time that the universe has had to develop. The Earth is still a relatively new planet in the grand scale of the universe. You know, entire solar systems have formed and died before the Earth came into existence. So it's reasonable to assume that there are other intelligent races out there that have been given the opportunity to evolve to highly technically advanced levels where they could quite possibly be out there exploring the galaxy right now. So the question is, with all of the staring at the stars we've been doing for centuries, millennia, how is it that we don't have any evidence that aliens exist? So there's a few answers to this. One is we do, and the governments know, and they're just hiding it from us, and there's really nothing we can do about that one. So move on, right? Um, there's a few other ones that we just have to skip. Another one is, well, maybe life is random according to scientists. I personally believe that God specifically, even if the entire rest of the galaxy is random, which I'm not entirely sure it is. I think it's all not necessarily all planned out, but it's all by design, so to speak. Um, like I don't believe. Maybe it's possible. Every single atom has a specific place. Every single photon. That seems unnecessary. Not necessarily incomprehensible. It is a little bit incomprehensible, but so is God. The important thing is that it just seems unnecessary that things would be guided to that level, and then that brings in to question free will and fate and destiny and all that stuff. I believe there was a design created, like, and then besides specific things he specifically wanted to adjust, he pretty much let the rest of it go about on its own and see what happened. I think in some ways it's a gigantic experiment. Think about what it's like when we create simulations. We create simulations for all kinds of reasons, but it's because we can't control exactly every variable. We can control certain initial conditions. Now we're talking about chaos theory too, but we can't control every single variable. And even if we can control all the variables, oftentimes we just allow them to be random because that's what makes the simulation interesting. So I think my theory is that God controlled the initial conditions of this solar system, and the rest are kind of random variables, maybe with a few other specific points of interest throughout the universe, but only God knows. My point, though, is the second possible thing is that just due to the randomness factor of all the conditions needing to be essentially perfect for life to form and then evolve to our level, we might be the first most advanced race in the galaxy. You know, there could be some other races which are maybe a few hundred years behind us or a few thousand years behind us somewhere else on another planet. But again, not really much we can do about that. The big question of the Fermi paradox assumes that based on the time scale of the universe and the fact that it's existed for a lot longer than this solar system has, based on the size of the universe and the probabilities that life evolves, it's pretty much guaranteed that it has already somewhere else in the universe reached our level of intelligence or higher and technological achievement. So then there's the issue of, well, we can't see the whole universe. And the primary reason is because it's bigger than light can travel in that time period. I think, I don't know what the exact numbers are. Um, if we could have an actual physicist correct me in the comments, but I think the estimates are that the universe is something like 50 billion years old. Well, assuming the speed of light is constant, and it probably wasn't if you consider the fact that, like, early on, physics, especially immediately after the Big Bang, seemed like they were kind of weird for a while. But let's just simplify it and say, assuming that the universe is 50 billion years old, that means the farthest we can see is 50 billion light years. And we've seen out there, and there's stuff past that, you know? So, at least as far as we can tell. So, it seems like the third option is that life exists. It just randomly happened to spawn outside of the area in which we can detect it. So then, I don't know if this one was part of the original theory, but this is something I've always considered. Similar to what we have met it, the government is just lying about us. I think it's also possible that we've seen it, we just don't recognize it, you know? I think there's kind of two or three ways to explain that at least. So the first one is, um, let's say the first guy, let's say there's a group of extremely isolationist humans that are on one of those protected islands that no one's allowed to visit, and one of them invents a radio and starts picking up radio waves, but doesn't know how to decode them properly and run them through a speaker. All they see is this new form of electromagnetic radiation, and it might just seem like cosmic background radiation to them. For all we know, what we describe as cosmic background radiation could be a universal internet type thing, right? And we just don't know how to tap into that waveform yet. So That's one possibility. The second possibility is that it's intentionally disguising itself from us. Um, I think there's plenty of reasons why, and I don't really want to go into that. The third possibility is that um, we just can't comprehend it, right? Think about an ant seeing a 747, a giant Boeing airliner. Do you think an ant comprehends that was built by living flesh beings? Maybe one that lives in a like at a airport. If there's an anthill at the end of the runway and they see people getting on and off it, they might figure it out, right? If it's a really, really smart ant. But I don't think a random ant that doesn't ever see people getting on and off and sees an airplane just out of the blue would necessarily assume that it were created by life, right? It may just see that as a falling rock, you know, kind of like the way we've seen a few interesting asteroids pass through our solar system. Uh, for all we know, one of those could have been an interstellar vessel or a lifeboat or maybe a probe. It's entirely possible we have seen signs of life. We just didn't recognize them for what they were. But then there are other theories. I think there's like 5 or 7 total. I don't remember specifically, like the other solutions. And the one that Fermi comes up with that is most compelling is the great filter theory. The great filter theory is kind of based on a lot of things we've seen in our own planet and evolutionary history many times where there are certain filters for a species achieving success, right? Being able to find sustenance, being able to develop resistance to diseases. All these things are filters, right? That will cause one species to go extinct and another species to survive. His theory is that there is a great filter to becoming a spacefaring race. One of the primary arguments about it is nuclear slash antimatter power. Any type of sufficient energy creation uh, that it's inherently destructive, right? To move spaceships between stars or to send signals between planets or stars, you need a great deal of energy. And to do it at a very, very extreme scale, there's only a few ways to accomplish that. One really is something like a Dyson sphere, which takes all the energy of an entire star and basically it encloses the star in um, materials designed to absorb that energy, and it collects that energy. But other simpler, less expensive and technologically advanced methods include things like nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, and antimatter reactions. Now, while these can be used to power cities, they can also be used to destroy cities, right? Uh, Even with our modern energy generation capabilities, our current theories of warp are incredibly inefficient. It's probably gotten better since the last time I read this, but I remember reading an article once where someone said, assuming our Alcubierre warp drive, there's another name that they added to it at some point. But Alcubierre has a theory of a pretty scientifically sound warp drive that would function similar to the warp drives in Star Trek. But to actually move even a small vessel just a short distance, like I think less than the distance from the Earth to the moon, in warp with our current power generation capabilities, you would need to consume about the mass of Jupiter, which is insane. Definitely not feasible. Now, there's always ways to increase efficiency and stuff over time, and I'm sure they'll um, refine that. But the point is to have an interstellar species, you need to have insane power generation capabilities, which come with it the double edged sword of insane destructive capabilities. Uh, on the level of not just being able to delete entire cities, but theoretically delete entire planets. So that is considered to be one of the potential great filters. Antimatter power generation or similar things and using it responsibly. I think we're going through one of the other great filters right now, which is AI and using it responsibly. And I think it's got two potentially destructive ends. One is the one that everyone talks about, where it's the AI destroys us, right? It becomes sentient or at least self aware and decides that humans are unnecessary or a waste or destructive, or in some twisted form of logic, decides that the best way to protect humans is to uh, subjugate them to protect them from themselves, type of thing, or to wipe them out because humans can't hurt each other if there's no humans left to hurt other humans, type thing, right? Just all kinds of weird, twisted, backwards logic. Or, again, simply just like, why waste resources on humans once AI can do better? What's AI can do everything better than humans can? And everything is with air quotes and an asterisk, but also not really entirely, I guess, better. Everything has the air quotes and better has the asterisks. Because is that AI music really better than human music? Is that AI voiceover really better than human voiceovers? Everyone is always going to say no when you put them side to side, but yet people are still consuming the AI music and the AI voiceovers, and it's only getting worse as AI gets better, right? Um, People are becoming less and less able to tell the difference. And what happens when AI can basically match humans in those things? I don't think it will ever surpass humans, especially the top performers in those areas, because there's just the quality of soul, right? I'm not even talking about like metaphysical souls, although my argument is that the quality of soul comes from the metaphysical soul. But even people who are atheists or agnostic, say they don't believe in any greater power, they'll say that AI over what word am I looking for? I already used it like twice. I'm just still on the team no sleep, not getting good sleep. Um, AI voiceovers are soulless. They'll say that AI music is soulless, right? So I think that's one reason that it'll never entirely replace humans. And another reason is that AI is too perfect in a lot of ways. The big one ends up being chess is a solved game, right? It has been for many, many years where even basic AI these days can easily beat chess grandmasters. And yet, people still watch chess tournaments. Why? It's because of what we'll describe simply as the human factor, which is not necessarily just the soul, but also the imperfection, right? And I think eventually, really, really good AI will learn to add intentional imperfections, but it's still going to be according to a computer algorithm where it just won't compare to human imperfections. And the human imperfections are what make life interesting. So, whatever it is you believe in, whatever it is you feel drawn to do in your life, whatever gifts you have, and I'm being serious here. Don't be one of those people that goes on American Idol and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the next Beyonce. And then the moment you start singing, everyone's face starts crunching up and half the people in the audience cover their ears, right? Like, be honest with yourself and your reality about what you're capable of. But don't give up. Just keep pushing through, and don't give in either. Never surrender. Never give up. Never surrender. Don't give up chasing your goals. I need to stop saying so much. When did that fucking re-enter my vocabulary? I deleted that a long time ago, but somehow it came back. I think I've heard too many public speakers recently say a lot. I'm like, how is this person even supposed to be a fucking press corps individual? What word am I looking for? My brain is not working right now. There it is. I don't know where it came from. There's just too many people that use that word too much, and it wormed its way back into my brain. The point is, don't give up and don't surrender. Don't give up chasing your dreams, doing your best to build a better reality for everyone. Don't give up trying to save the world. In fact, don't even try to save the world. Just go out and save the world. And don't surrender. Don't surrender to evil corporations and governments that want to strip you of your identity and all of your rights. Don't surrender to AI bullshit, because it's really the human factor is all we have when you really boil it down to it. All right, that's enough. I've got more renovations to do today. So I just want to say delete Windows, de Google yourself. I love all of you, and God bless America. Peace.